About a decade ago, I met Kaushik from Calcutta, and he'd often say that for bongs like me, the purpose of life is to discover the purpose of life. Very funny. I'm sure he meant it in jest, but I was very frustrated with this. I was dead serious about this topic. I had been struggling with this question of purpose of life, and I was convinced that it was not circular in nature, and it was rather very singular. Fortunately, through my recent experiences, I have learned that the purpose of life is to reunite with the Paramatma, to merge back with the Swa. And that's what we have heard and learned in FoY as well. That's the outcome of yoga. I must confess, I've only understood this in concept and I've had no significant experiences, but that has been enough to get me convinced about it. What the dualities I experience, the grandness is so scary. I feel so insignificant, so petrified by it. And on the other hand, I understand I'm also the microcosm of the universe and therefore I should feel confident about myself. But you know what's been more frustrating? If the idea was to reunify or reunite with the God, then why did we separate in the first place? And I've heard the answer is for the creator to enjoy the creation. Now, I know you must be thinking, this is so perverse, this is so wrong. But here's the thing, I'm going to concede that I don't understand this thing very much and I'll accept it as it is. Arth, yogification. And now yogification. We have seen this image, we have been completely consumed by it, trying to understand all parts of it, and all these different terms, I think they're beginning to make some sense one step at a time. Be it the Swa, be it the cosmic intelligence, the Trigunas, connection to Panchakoshas, all of them. The way I'm understanding is that the purpose of my life is to try to lead a sattvic life. And what this does is it opens the doorways for me to access my spirit and soul better. Now, at the same time, it's also clear that one has to move away from the field of Trigunas, and that's how one ultimately reaches the cosmic intelligence, or that's what at least I've understood the concept to be. Now, here is however my trouble been with the Trigunas, because the moment we talk about Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic, we are now bringing the dimension of some sort of right or wrong, at least in the way we conduct our day-to-day life. Trigunas, and then we think about things which we do inadvertently or by design, etc., which are not perhaps the good things to do. And what I've sensed is that 99.99999% of people in the world who have been or who are still being in this planet, they have no clue what they're up to. They have no sense of what this swa is, they have no sense of what direction to move towards, etc. And then it is so frustrating, it is so inefficient just for some 10,000 people or so to achieve realization. I mean, it's going to be so long a process that it's so indigestible to me. But then here's my point of reconciliation. I'm beginning to understand that perhaps this is not intended consequences. It's like a system has noise. Maybe all the manifestations today, they're just noises. And it's my emotions playing out which makes me feel so strongly about it. Whereas I just need to perhaps settle down. Uh, what I'm convinced about is that Sattvic way of life is the right life for me and I should follow that. And conceding that my levels of intellect and perception today, they're not enough to understand the grand design. And now let's talk about the yogification process, all these things, the units, the whole unit, the tools, the dualities, etc. Again, theory to start with, but I've learned a little bit through it. For instance, when thinking of Bhakti Yoga, I happened to think about Carnatic music. And it so happened that I usually thought of music, and especially Carnatic music, as expression of skill of voice and music and things like that. It only later struck me that it's really about devotion. It's really about expressing your love to the divine. That's what this form of music especially has been towards, and I'm sure other forms of music as well. Just like this, I'm hoping that I apply this process to other so-called spiritual processes also and understand them better. One I really hope to spend more time towards is karma yoga, because that's what I'm up to. I'm in a profession, I'm a professional, so I should understand what's the right way of conduct here through the lens of karma yoga. Carnatic music. I think in conclusion, I'd say that I'm blessed that I could go through this process and that I have some sense about the purpose and process of life. At the end. Thank you.